This tiny joint is great for intricate work and miniature replica pieces. Three 32nd-inch box joints are routed with the optional Leigh No. 163 3/32 inch straight bit and the Leigh E10 guide bushing. Optional bits are available at leigjigs.com. A single supplied blocker is also required. Board widths for symmetrical and asymmetrical box joints are determined by the total number of pins and sockets in the joint. Symmetrical joints always have an odd number of pins and sockets and start and finish with a pin or socket. Asymmetrical joints have an even number of pins and sockets and always end with the opposite of what it started with. The quick reference strip is a handy guide to help take you through the steps of routing 3 32nd-inch box joints on the RTJ400. Check the board width chart on the quick reference strip to determine board sizes. Based on the approximate board width required for our project, which is 2 1/4 inches, our board will be symmetrical with 23 pins and sockets. To produce good box joints, boards must be flat with square ends and edges. We're using 1/4 inch thick boards, but boards of different thicknesses can be used to suit the project. Remember to mark the boards to indicate the inside or the outside face of the finished piece, as well as the edge that goes against the side stop. Fit the E10 guide bushing to the router table or router table insert and install it in the router table. Be sure the insert is orientated the same way every time an E-bush or bit change is made. All routing starts with the E-bush set in the number 5 position. With the power disconnected, install the optional Leigh No. 163 bit in the router. Note that with this router table setup, the E-bush was removed to install the bit. Make sure the bit spins freely within the guide bushing before reconnecting the power. Unlatch the frame and insert the right frame pin in the number 1 box joints hole and securely latch the frame. The left frame pin is inserted in the box joint slot. To set the side stop position, make sure the bit is raised about 1/4 inch above the template and move the first right-hand comb opening over the E10 guide bushing. Set a pin board flush on the template with the right edge just touching the bit and clamp it in place. Move the right frame clamp to the left, then slide the side stop against the board and tighten it with the hex key. The 3 32nd-inch joint requires moving the template frame from right to left in 4 steps. When working with thinner boards, it may be possible to route 2 boards at the same time. Place the 2 pin boards flush on the template with the edges tight against the side stop and clamp them in place. Clamp a short backer board firmly against the workpiece at least 3/16 of an inch from the board edge to prevent it from interfering with the side stop when the frame is repositioned in the 3 other steps. Backer boards help prevent tear out and directs dust and chips away from the operator. Use a socket board to set the depth of cut. Hold the board level on the template and pencil a line across. Adjust the bit until the tip is in the center of the pencil line. Bit height determines the flushness of the joint, so it's important to set the bit height properly. After setting the bit height, you will want to do a quick fit test. Remove the pin boards and route 2 scrap test boards back to back in the jig at the same time, moving through the 4 pin positions: 1, 3, 2, and 4. Don't concern yourself about board edge alignment. The test is for fit only. The E-bush allows for very precise fit adjustments. If the joint is too loose, turn the E-bush to a higher number. If the joint is too tight, turn the E-bush to a lower number. Remember to retighten the E-bush after each adjustment. Once you've determined the perfect E-bush setting, record the setting in your user guide and on the quick reference strip. With the pin boards reinserted and safety gear in place, route in all comb openings, making sure the guide bushing comes in contact with all guide surfaces. Keep the template perpendicular to the line on the tabletop at all times. Leave the pin board and backer board in place. Unlatch the frame and move the right frame pin to the number 3 position. Route in all openings. Unlatch the frame and insert the right frame pin in the number 2 position. Again, route in all comb openings. Next, unlatch the frame and insert the right frame pin in the number 4 hole. Continue routing to complete this end of the boards. Flip the pin boards end on end, keeping the same edge against the side stop, and clamp them in place. The other end of the pin boards will be completed by following the previous routing steps in reverse order, meaning that the routing will start with the right frame pin in the number 4 position. Then the number 2 position, the number 3 position, and complete this end of the pin boards by inserting the right frame pin in the number 1 position. The 2 pin boards are now complete. Do not remove the pin boards or unlatch the frame. The side stop must be repositioned to route the socket boards. Loosen the side stop and move it away from the boards. Fit one of the included blockers firmly to the upper part of the side stop. Move the side stop with the blocker attached tight against the boards and tighten it in place with the hex key. Now remove the pin boards and take the blocker off the side stop. Clamp the 2 socket boards against the side stop. The socket boards are routed in the same sequence as the tail boards, starting with the right frame pin in the number 1 position. Leave the socket boards in place, unlatch the frame, and insert the right frame pin in the number 3 position. Continue routing in all comb openings. Unlatch the frame and insert the right frame pin in the number 2 position. Finish up this end of the boards by unlatching the frame and inserting the right frame pin in the number 4 position. Flip the boards over, once again making sure to keep the same edges against the side stop. Complete the socket boards by routing them in reverse order, starting in the number 4 position. Move the right frame pin to the number 2 position. The number 3 position, and complete the boards by finishing in the number 1 position. All 4 boards are now complete and ready for assembly. Put the joint together and test the joint flushness. Be sure to keep the same marked board edges together. If the joint is overflush, then you need to lower the bit. If it is underflush, you need to raise the bit. The pins and tails should be as flush as possible so that minimal sanding is required to clean up and finish the joint.